The country of Afghanistan faces an uncertain future under Taliban rule, but the mayor of Kabul remains hopeful.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Mike Mahoney. Afghanistan is facing an uncertain future and leaving many people wondering how the nation is going to look under Taliban rule. Fox News' Trey Yingst reports from Kabul.
There are a lot of questions about what comes next for Afghanistan. The mayor of Kabul remains hopeful, but the clock is ticking to find an economic solution for the Afghan people.
So we want to create pockets of hope, stability, and forward-looking cultural uplifting.
Daoud Sultanzoy is the mayor of Kabul. He's a former U.S. citizen and United Airlines pilot. And now, he's one of the last Afghan government officials still serving under Taliban rule.
I have a responsibility, and I've been given this responsibility to do something. And if I just live like others, what have I achieved?
The future of Afghanistan remains uncertain. Civilians don't know whether the Taliban will be able to govern. For many of the group's young fighters who have been at war for 20 years, this is the first experience they've had with modern society. Kabul and the rest of the country remains an experiment between government, conflict, and tribal extremism. Civilians hope the outcome will mean economic prosperity and stability.
I hope that every person find work, because we have a lot of workers in Afghanistan, but they didn't have works. And also we need to high educations. This is our hope. Every Afghan have this hope.
You saw the images in that piece. In some parts of Afghanistan, Taliban fighters are playing on carnival rides. In other parts, they're hanging bodies from cranes. The disconnect will only complicate the path forward for Afghanistan. In Kabul, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
All right, let's take things back here to the U.S. and let's talk about our first weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick.
Quiet day, Mike, and we were certainly glad for it because we got past a chilly start this morning at 59. But with still so much dry air and a good south breeze during the day, we catapulted into the upper 80s. 10 degrees above the normal of 78 actually, with today's official high at Joplin Regional at 88 degrees. Haven't seen anything all day long. We kept skies sunny throughout the course of the day, and we're still seeing a good south breeze in place. Even though it's lightening up a little bit, this time around we're not going to be quite as chilly as we go into the overnight hours. Right now we're sitting mainly in the mid 70s across much of the region, and you can see how temperatures won't be too keen to drop off as quickly as we did this morning, only dropping back to about 67 degrees. Partly sunny skies at times during the day, but I still think a good southwest breeze will push highs back near 90, numbers we don't want to see, Mike, but I don't think this will last long for the week ahead. We'll break down the numbers and our next chance for rain here in a bit.
All right, sounds good, Nick. Thanks so much. A local family with one side in healthcare and the other side in a form of the entertainment industry combined forces to give our local healthcare heroes a break from their daily grind. Chris Butler works at Mercy, Southeast Kansas, while his son owns Jungle Bounce, hence the bounce houses that you see right there. They combined forces at Landreth Park in Joplin today to provide not only those bounce houses, but also rock climbing walls, food trucks, and even live music.
And we've seen how the nurses and all the staff in the hospitals have just been inundated with COVID patients, working extra hours. So we wanted to give them a day where they could come out, just enjoy themselves with their families, and just have a good time.
And this is the first time the family has teamed up for healthcare workers. Plenty of four-staters paid a visit to the Joplin Historical and Mineral Museum today for Rockathon. That's the title for the 22nd annual Gem and Mineral Expo, and it was a great opportunity for local collectors to get their hands on rock specimens, fossils, beads, jewelry, and plenty of other cool collectibles. The museum's curator says the expo is also a chance for four-staters to buy gems and minerals from out-of-state vendors.
We have people that come from all over. I believe this time we have some people from Texas, Louisiana, a lot of people from Missouri also. But we have a lot of vendors who have been doing this for many years with us.
And the museum's curator also says this should be the 24th annual Gem and Mineral Expo, but not the 22nd, but the coronavirus canceled the last two shows. It's now time for us to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize Irv Langan of Atchison, Kansas. Irv served as a major in the U.S. Army, earning a Good Conduct Medal and a Meritorious Service Medal. Thank you, sir, for your service and your courage. For more information on all our four-state heroes, or to nominate your own, just log on to KOMNewsNow.com. And we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we have got more on that volcano in Spain that is forcing thousands of people to evacuate. That is coming up right after weather.
It was nice to keep things nice and quiet on this final Sunday of the month of September. It's really hard to believe this month is flying by, but even though we had a trend quite a bit warmer, we'll break down the temperatures here in just a moment, can't really deny how nice the time-lapse from Indigo Sky outside of Seneca, Missouri looked throughout the course of the day. Right after sunrise, hardly any cloud cover to obscure the beautiful skies that we saw throughout the course of the day. Compared to yesterday's highs in the upper 70s to near 80, we quickly dropped back into the upper 50s to near 60 overnight into this morning. But that south breeze cranking back into gear wasted no time heating things up. Already near 80 by 11 o'clock this morning and topping out close to 88, 89 degrees for afternoon highs today. But unfortunately, we're going to have to see highs back near 90 for Monday and Tuesday. So a bit hot to start this new work week and school week out, but I'm still tracking rain chances by midweek and possibly heading into the weekend. And that, if that continues to be the case, means warm temperatures returning by the midweek. A chance to get out of the 90s once again, right after a few more hot days. 7th the range line at 9:08 on this Sunday night. Looks good. Traffic below is looking quiet, as do the skies above. 75 in Joplin with a south breeze at about 10 miles per hour. Temperatures right now across much of the region mid to upper 70s all across the board, and these numbers are still up there because of a good south and southwest wind that was stronger during the day at 10 to 25 miles per hour, gusts near 30 at times, but we've lightened up on that breeze a little bit. I think we'll hold on to a breeze out of the south at 5 to 15 for the rest of the night. That will only allow temperatures to drop back into the mid, even a couple of upper 60s as we go into your Monday morning. Still not much happening here, mostly clear skies across much of the four-state region overall. We still have high pressure continuing to move off toward the east, keeping that southerly breeze in place. However, we're back on the barely warmer side of the jet, while I'm still keeping an eye on this upper low, causing some thunderstorms out in the desert southwest. That is what will come into play starting on Wednesday, but it's not going to do much for us other than trying to bring a few clouds our way, but we'll still stay mostly clear for Monday morning, and I'm thinking partly sunny skies as we go through the rest of our Monday afternoon. If we do hold on to partly sunny skies during the afternoon, I see us going from 67 in the morning, 84 by noon, and highs around 90. If we see more sunshine during the day, maybe lower 90s, maybe 91, 92 degrees. One thing for sure, though, that southwest breeze will be back in action at 10 to 20 miles per hour throughout the afternoon. And with partly cloudy skies holding firm for Tuesday morning, we'll drop back into the mid-60s and we'll try to head back near 90 with the partly sunny skies still in place. But I think we'll be dry for Tuesday before this upper low sends in better moisture with some scattered storms on Wednesday and trying to continue as we go into Thursday, Friday. We'll definitely keep an eye on this setup and hopefully we can avoid any rain chances for Friday night football this week. But I think we'll get a break in the rain chances by the time we get toward the end of next weekend. So some of us do need the rain chances, and we do have our chances lining up as soon as we hit Wednesday and toward the end of the coming weekend, Mike. And as far as temperatures go, near 90 tomorrow and Tuesday. And then with these rain chances holding steady, I'm thinking mainly mid-80s Wednesday and Thursday and highs back near 80 for the coming weekend.
Sounds good to me. I wouldn't mind a little rain. And hey, Nick, I've got an update on that volcano in Spain that we showed viewers yesterday. A church on the Spanish island of La Palma is now in ruins after being engulfed in lava today. The volcano first erupted a week ago, sending rivers of lava flowing into nearby towns. Video shows a dense cloud of smoke engulfing the bell tower of a church before the whole building collapses. The town of Toroque was evacuated last week when the first river of lava reached it. La Palma is part of the volcanic Canary Islands off of northwest Africa. It's also home to about 85,000 people, and so far 6,000 of them have been evacuated. All right, we are taking a look at some international news right after this short break. And over in Switzerland, voters are deciding about ending a ban on gay marriage and whether LGBTQ plus couples can adopt. Details are next.
Right here on Fox 14.
Less than a week remains for Congress to pass a federal spending budget and avoid a government shutdown. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson has the latest from our nation's capital.
President Biden's entire domestic agenda is on the line this week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants to pass a $1 trillion infrastructure bill in addition to the $3.5 trillion social spending bill the largest in history.
I'm never bringing a bill to the floor that doesn't have the votes. And I think any time you put an arbitrary date, well, remember when the Republicans said they were going to overturn the Affordable Care Act on the anniversary of the Affordable Care Act? I knew right then and then they were doomed.
Pelosi sent a letter to her Democratic colleagues Saturday saying this will be an intense week on Capitol Hill. President Biden says the $3.5 trillion social spending bill will cost nothing. It will be paid for by tax hikes on the wealthy and corporate America. A House Budget Committee yesterday met in a rare Saturday session to okay the $3.5 trillion bill. It's 2,400 pages. That's twice as long as the Bible. Democrats now have to figure out how to pass it and then ram it through the Senate. Republicans say this is not a bipartisan endeavor. Inflation on basic household goods is already up 5% this year. Republicans worry this new spending will crush the U.S. economy.
I've never seen Washington spend so much to kill so many American jobs, to raise prices even higher, and to expand the welfare state, the greatest expansion in our lifetime. This is an economic surrender to China, Russia, and Europe, with saddling American businesses with some of the highest tax rates in the world, which will drive and kill, we think, about 3 million jobs.
The fiscal year ends Thursday. Without a stopgap measure funding the government, Congress could be working some weekends in October. At the White House, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
A new referendum could uproot a long-standing abortion law in the Italian Republic of San Marino. Many people in the region are looking to change the abortion law surrounding it as surrounding Italy did back in 1978. San Marino, the world's oldest republic, has fallen behind its European neighbors when it comes to women's rights. It gave women the right to vote in 1960 and finally made divorce legal in 1986. One of the last countries in Western Europe to have a ban on same-sex marriages might decide to repeal that ban today. Voters in Switzerland are headed to the polls to not only vote on allowing gay marriage, but also to allow same-sex couples to adopt children. Recent opinion polls show 63% of Swiss citizens are in favor of allowing gay marriage. The measure to allow same-sex unions was approved by both Switzerland's parliament and federal government, but a right-wing political party has forced the issue to be voted on by the public. We'll be right back with more news.
Timber.
Welcome back to your News at 9. Border Patrol agents have cleared out a camp of tens of thousands of migrants near the U.S.-Mexico border. But another potential surge of refugees could arrive in just a few weeks. Fox News' Jeff Paul has the latest from Del Rio, Texas.
The border here in Del Rio looking much different than it did just 1 week ago. The crowd of thousands of mostly Haitian nationals that had gathered here is now gone. But concerns are growing over how well equipped immigration agents are to handle the next surge.
I can tell you that the humanitarian efforts have been, it's just something that I've never seen on this scale before.
DHS says about 30,000 migrants passed through the camp in just the last 2 weeks. More than 12,000 were released into the United States with a pending court date. Another 5,000 are in DHS custody, waiting to have their cases processed. The rest were deported to Haiti or voluntarily returned to Mexico. Republicans say the situation makes the White House look weak on immigration and blame the Biden administration for the recent surges.
They have sent a message and a signal to the entire world that they are not going to secure the border. They're going to allow them across.
The administration, meanwhile, has pinned the blame on a bleak economic situation in Central and South America, as well as outdated immigration laws. The last major bipartisan attempt at reform failed in 2013.
I think we meet the challenges, but we are working in a completely broken system. I've never heard anyone say that the laws in immigration are well structured.
Officials are now tracking another migrant caravan that just crossed into southern Mexico. This group is about 20,000 strong and could arrive anywhere here along the U.S.-Mexico border within the next month. In Del Rio, Texas, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
The White House is seeking to distance itself from images taken at the southern border, showing Border Patrol agents chasing down a group of Haitian refugees on horseback. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson is back. He's got that story.
President Biden, the Vice President, and the DHS Secretary all appeared to put the blame squarely on the Border Patrol. Not one of them stood up for their agents.
To see people treated like they did, horses barely running them over, people being strapped, it's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay.
It also evoked images of some of the worst moments of our history where that kind of behavior has been used against the indigenous people of our country has been used against African Americans during times of slavery.
We know that those images painfully conjured up the worst elements of our nation's ongoing battle against systemic racism.
Just 5 days ago, Mayorkas appeared certain whips were not used against those Haitian migrants, saying his Border Patrol agents were using long reins to control their horses only. Now the head of DHS says he spoke too soon, saying he made those statements without ever having seen the images. Mayorkas says he saw them on his flight back to Washington. The man who took those photos says he never actually saw a member of the Border Patrol hit a migrant. Former acting DHS Chief Chad Wolf says he stands by the Border Patrol and said their leadership should too. A Texas congressman is also fired up.
The secretary should have the back of the men and women of the Border Patrol, of his law enforcement officers. Instead, you have not only the president, but you have the vice president as well as the secretary commenting on actions that never occurred.
I'm ready to go to war with Joe Biden over how he's vilified the Border Patrol.
President Biden has never been to the southern border. That includes his time as vice president for 8 years and as a U.S. senator for more than 30. This weekend, he's at Camp David. At the White House, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
When we return, there is trouble across the pond. Gas stations throughout the United Kingdom have run out or are about to run out of gasoline. You'll learn what's going on in just 2 short minutes. Welcome back. Today, thousands of gas stations in Britain ran out of gas. Drivers lined up hoping to fill their tanks in the midst of a supply disruption caused by a shortage of truck drivers. People walking by said they could hear motorists shouting and swearing at each other. The Petrol Retailers Association, which represents almost 5,500 independent gas stations, said about 2/3 of its members were already sold out, with the remainder expected to run out soon. The shortages are being exacerbated by panic buying. The association says there's plenty of fuel in Britain, but it's in the terminals and refineries. The truck hauling industry says it's short tens of thousands of truckers due to a perfect storm that includes the coronavirus pandemic, an aging workforce, and an exodus of foreign workers following Britain's departure from the European Union. Well, stay right there. We have got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. That's all coming up right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are running over to New York City and checking out the return of the Tunnel to Towers run and learning about its history. That story and more are next.
Pets.
Teen.
4 Pennsylvania teenagers have been charged for conspiring to attack their high school on the 25th anniversary of the 1999 Columbine High School Massacre. Fox News' Alexandria Hoff has the details.
Natural-born killers is how these teens described themselves. In fact, it was the title of the group text message thread that a parent found and took to police, foiling a plot to replicate the Columbine Massacre. 2 15-year-olds, Alyssa, Kucharski, and Xavier Lewis, have been charged as adults. 2 more as juveniles for their roles in a conspiracy to carry out a mass casualty attack on Dunmore High School. Investigators say their target date was Columbine's 25th anniversary, when 2 student shooters killed 12 classmates and 1 teacher in Colorado. Now this Pennsylvania community is horrified.
I was like, no, this can't be real. It's terrible for 15-year-olds to be planning to actually murder people. It's just beyond belief.
According to our Fox affiliate WOLF, the group planned to shoot up the school and specifically target 3 faculty members. A search of Kucharski's home uncovered a stockpile of homemade explosives, plans for making pipe bombs, a list of guns and ammo needed, and writings on Columbine. On Friday, the Dunmore School District Superintendent released this statement to the community, reading in part, quote, "Please be advised that the administration has been informed that the alleged perpetrators are in custody, and we have been assured that there is no current danger to students and staff." Now, according to our affiliate, the plotting began back in May, and the parent found these text messages and went to police in July. So many members of the community have voiced concern about not being told about this any sooner. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
The Tunnels to Tower run picks up where it left off in 2019. Thousands of people ran and walked through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel today, traveling from downtown Brooklyn to the World Trade Center in Manhattan. The run did not happen as usual last year because of the pandemic. The route is the same path firefighter Stephen Stiller took on September 11, 2001. Stiller was off duty, but when he learned about the attack, he tried to drive to the Twin Towers in his own truck. He was stopped at the mouth of the Battery Tunnel, so he ditched his truck, grabbed his gear, and ran through the tunnel and the rest of the way on foot. Unfortunately, Stiller died when the towers collapsed. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. That's next.
Experience what Kia has to offer.
Tonight at 11, right here on Fox 14.
Our final weekend of September has pretty much come to a close. At least we wrap things up on a beautiful looking note throughout the course of the day. You can see from sunrise to sunset, the time lapse of indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri showed what everybody saw throughout the course of the day. Nice looking sky. But if we look and see where we go from here, these nice skies will, with the south breeze back in play tomorrow, means temperatures a bit hot with highs near 90 for tomorrow and for your Tuesday. Then once we hit the middle of the week, not only am I keeping an eye on rain chances that want to make a return, certainly by midweek going into the weekend, but at least another chance to get out of the 90s with possibly 80s and maybe some 70s returning as we go on down the road. In the meantime, though, we have cooled down quite a bit since we hit our highs in the upper 80s this afternoon and a few spots near 90. We're at 75 in Joplin, dew point at 56. Humidity not too terribly high at 51%. Elsewhere around the region, most of us are sitting in the lower to middle 70s, certainly along and east of 69, but a couple of spots like Parsons, Chanute, Wells, Fanita, Nowata, we're trying to hold on to some mid to upper 70s, and I'm not really that surprised because after we got past kind of a breezy day with a southwesterly wind at 20 to 25 miles per hour at the strongest, we've backed off on that breeze a bit, but still at 5 to 15 miles per hour, it certainly is enough to keep temperatures a bit warm before we settle down into the mid to upper 60s as we go into your Monday morning. Not much to track, once again, not just in our area, but across the entire four-state region as a whole. So let's break down our weather setup. Not much to show around here. High pressure working into the southeast, still strong enough for sure to keep that south breeze in place. In the meantime, this frontal boundary to the north, that's not going to be an issue for us. The next feature I am watching, though, in the next few days is this upper level low causing some rain and storms across Arizona and New Mexico, where they could certainly use some rain. But this is going to start edging closer to us. Until it gets here, though, we'll keep quiet, but unfortunately back on the hotter side of the jet. So that does mean another slight bump in temperatures for tomorrow, but at least we're trending in the right direction, even with some cloud cover trying to work in overnight. I'm still going to say mostly clear skies, but you can see how we drop back into the middle to upper 60s by the start of your Monday morning. Then as we go throughout the course of the day, I still think we'll hold on to partly sunny skies, but that southwest wind kicks back into gear at 10 to 20 miles per hour. If we hold on to partly sunny skies during the day, I see us going from 67 in the morning, 84 by noon, and highs near 90. If we see more mostly sunny skies, however, I think most of us will be around 91, 92 degrees for afternoon highs. No matter how you slice it, though, a bit of a hot start to the work week and school week, but we'll drop back into the middle 60s for Tuesday morning. And before that low out west can send anything our way in terms of rain chances, we'll be back near 90 with partly sunny skies again for Tuesday. I think our best shot, next best shot for rain, that is, comes in on Wednesday as this upper wave passes on by, so that will result in some scattered rain and storms for Wednesday. And with the jet stream a bit active as we go through the rest of the week and into next weekend, thankfully we'll hold on to some rain chances, and we can certainly use some around here. And not to mention, Mike, we can use a drop in temperatures again. Once we get past near 90 on Monday and Tuesday, let's go 86 Wednesday, 84 Thursday, and highs near 80 as we go into the weekend.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Nick. All right, imagine a vacuum that can suck toxins from the air to help save planet Earth. It may seem like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's very real, and it's happening as we speak. Fox News' Kevin Cork has a look at one high-tech solution to climate change.
Over in Iceland lies a unique device helping to combat the climate crisis. This is the Orca, the world's largest machine that literally sucks carbon dioxide, a dangerous gas contributing to global warming, right out of the air, and then deposits it below ground, preventing it from eating away at the atmosphere.
The CO2 there is mineralized with the basalt rock, so it's turned into stone, literally, and that is happening within a period of 2 years.
Currently, the Orca is serving a handful of massive corporations by helping to remove a portion of the CO2 that they produce.
Microsoft, Stripe, Shopify, the car maker Audi, who are our customers. So they are paying us for us to remove CO2 from the atmosphere in their name.
In total, the Orca is capable of removing 4,000 tons of CO2 from the air each and every year, the amount generated from roughly 800 cars. It may seem like a lot, but with close to 32 billion tons of carbon dioxide emitted globally last year alone, experts say a lot more needs to be done.
Climate science tells us we need to go to billion tons of CO2 removal per annum at latest by mid-century.
And company officials say they're already in the works to build an even larger version of the Orca. The new model would be expected to remove about 10 times more CO2. I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
All right, stay tuned, sports fans, because we will be right back with Danny Terzer and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report. And Danny's got a ton of great stories headed your way, including highlights from the Chiefs matchup with the Chargers today. That's headed your way in just 2 short minutes.
Our fall weather is almost here. The late
Ford Furniture at Import Warehouse.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. The Kansas City Chiefs are looking to get back on track today after falling to the Ravens by 1 point in Week 2. Chiefs at home facing the Chargers. Kansas City held to 3 points in the first half. We'll pick this up in the fourth quarter, though. Mike Williams, 20 yards out, touchdown score. Chiefs respond. Patrick Mahomes flips it to McCole Hardman. Hardman gets in end zone from 8 yards out. Kansas City takes back the lead. Tied with 2 minutes left, Mahomes gets picked off his second interception of the game. The Chargers take advantage. Herbert goes back to Williams. The Chiefs go down once again, back-to-back losses, this one 30-24.
I mean, it's not like we weren't doing things the right way like we always do. We just didn't execute whenever it came down to it. And in this league, when you're playing teams like them, like the Chargers, they're a good football team. If you don't execute, you don't win a football game.
The Missouri Southern Lions were at home on Saturday, hosting the Fort Hays State Tigers. The Lions outscored the Tigers in the second half, but it wasn't enough for the comeback. MSSU falls 42-21. There were some bright spots, though. Joplin product Nathan Glades found the end zone twice in the game. He finished with 93 rushing yards. It was also a record-setting day for tight end Keandre Bledsoe. Bledsoe caught 9 passes for 88 yards. Those 9 receptions are the most in a single game by a tight end at Missouri Southern.
I mean, as we try to find our identity offensively and we try to find the guys that we feel are playmakers and that will really help us out, we got to find ways to put the ball in their hands. And Keandre is one. He's probably one of our best hands guy. And so we got to find different ways to put the ball in his hands.
Pittsburgh State also at home on Saturday looking for their first home win. They got it, a 30-28 victory over Emporia State. It took some work, though. Jalen Martin scored the go-ahead TD in the third. The Gorillas able to do just enough on both sides of the ball to finish this one out. The PSU defense held the Hornets to their lowest point total this season.
I'm so proud of them and how they played when we needed them the most. You know, we were getting stopped, and we tried the double pass and gets picked off, and our defense was outstanding. And I'm not sure there was very many explosive plays either that they gave up during that point in time. And we talk about that so often to make them earn it and make them drive it. And those guys did drive quite a bit, but our defense bowed up, and really proud of those guys.
The Pittsburgh State softball team takes the field today for some fall ball action. The Gorillas play 3 games this fall. Today is their second. PSU hosting Labette today. Bottom of the second, Gorillas up 1-0. Corey Stonestreet to deep center field. That's a 2-run home run. Next inning is a big one for Pitt State. Paxton Hayes to the back wall. This will be a ground rule double as it hops over the fence. 2 score and it's 5-0. Keela Griffith now gets a good piece. A 2-run double, and PSU just pouring it on here. Capping off the inning is Gabby Schultz. She crushes this ball. Over the trees it goes. A 3-run blast. As they play this one out, Gorillas score 17 runs. It's a big win over the Cardinals. We'll be right back with more news.
Welcome back to your News at 9. There's a different kind of juvenile court over in southern Ohio. That's because it's one that's run by teenagers. Fox News' Cody Fisher checks it out.
The judge who sat here on the bench, the people who filled up the seats on the jury, and even the attorneys who presented their arguments at this podium were all teenagers, helping to create consequences for the actions of their peers.
All rise to the honorable Elijah.
The procedures of court are the exact same as regular court.
We require the same level of decorum as in any other courtroom.
And the defendants are real.
This is an actual person whose fate I'm basically working with right now. You know, I'm like representing a real person, so that was a little nerve-wracking for me.
The difference is, the proceedings are scripted to help teach teenage volunteers about the legal system. But after hearing arguments from both sides,
we ask that you pass judgment on everything about the respondent, not just what happened the day of the event.
The jury of teenagers deliberates to determine punishment.
We just talked about the possible outcomes of what he would have gotten.
This teenager, who already pleaded guilty to marijuana possession and paraphernalia possession, was facing 15 hours of community service, but he was given a sentence of taking a marijuana 101 class and writing a letter of apology to his mom.
In the end, we thought it'd be a great opportunity for him to speak with his family about what he knew he did wrong, and then for the marijuana 101 class, we thought it was awesome for him to learn more about what he did and what not to do it again.
The teenage volunteers tell us they're taking this experience seriously and are learning more than just legal procedure.
There isn't good people and bad people in the world. You know, there's people who make good and bad choices based on what their environment is.
Warren County isn't the only county looking to put teenagers in jury seats. There was representatives from the Clinton County Juvenile Court here today who were learning, and they say they're also thinking about implementing a program like this.
A 7th grader in Colorado has a unique way of getting to school, and it's solving a big family problem during a school bus driver shortage. Fox News' Evan Krugel chats with the kayak kid.
Across Colorado, a shortage of bus drivers is putting parents like Jason Smith in a bind.
So we've been on kind of a standby.
The Summit County family entering the school year unsure if 12-year-old Josh would have a ride to class.
Beginning of the year, we didn't know if Josh was going to have a seat on the bus.
So when it came time for school to start,
I'll get the back.
The 7th grader had a plan.
Here we go.
Why rely on the wheels of the bus when the shortest distance from home to school doesn't involve a road at all?
I noticed that the school is like right on the lake, so I thought it would be really easy to just kayak on over there.
So on a cool September morning,
Okay, push me off.
he set off.
I was nervous when I started to go out a little bit more, and I noticed like how vast it was and how far away I was from land.
But Josh never looked back, paddling across the entire lake, a distance of about 3 miles, even stopping to explore an island on the way.
Well, I was late to one of my classes, and everyone was like, Josh, we were worried about you. Where were you? And I was like, oh, I was kayaking to school.
His dad admits he kept tabs on Josh from overlooks like this one and was relieved to finally see that bright kayak parked outside of the school.
The easy answer would have been, no, let me just drive you to school. If you can't get on the bus, we'll drive you to school, no problem. But I got a 12-year-old who wants to take a chance, wants to be adventurous, wants to do something that probably none of his buddies would do. And how can I say no to that?
Now that the weather is starting to cool, he says these trips will soon end. But plans are already forming for another adventure when the snow starts to fly.
Yeah, I'm going to try and Nordic ski to school on the frozen lake.
Big plans for a 12-year-old full of adventure.
Yeah, for sure.
An Olympic swimmer is making history outside of the pool. This weekend, Olympic medalist Elizabeth Beasel became the first woman to swim from Rhode Island mainland to Block Island. This Rhode Island native was able to swim through the rough waters of the Block Island Sound in just under 5.5 hours. Beasel completed the 10.4-mile course to raise money for cancer research in memory of her father, who passed away in July. Beasel swam with Team USA in 3 Olympics, taking home both the silver in the 400-meter medley and the bronze in the 200-meter backstroke in the 2012 London Games. All right, we are not done yet here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are headed to the Golden State, where the drought is causing plenty of problems for California pumpkin farmers. That story and more are next. Golden State pumpkin farmers are in a pinch as a historic drought threatens their crops. Fox News' Amber Lee has their story.
At Farmer John's pumpkin farm in Half Moon Bay, we were taken behind the scenes to see this year's harvest amidst a drought.
We usually water them 2 to 3 times a week.
Co-owner Danny Bertau tells me the farm has grown only half of what a usual season produces.
The hardest part of this year was figuring out how much crop to plant with our water situation and just managing what we had.
5 acres of the orange fruit instead of 10, producing up to 15 varieties instead of 20 to 25, some edible, some decorative.
Pumpkins are like people. We come in all colors, sizes, and shapes, but on the inside, we're all the same.
John Muller, known as Farmer John, ran the farm for 2 decades until turning it over to the new owners in February. He predicts a good season. These fields, a place of refuge during the pandemic.
They just need to come out and feel nature, and smell nature, and touch nature.
Nearby, Limo's Farms offers a petting zoo with 80 goats and other entertainment. The family-owned farm is open year-round. Frank Lemos, whose family owns the farm, says COVID concerns have had an impact.
Business has been a bit slower, but we're doing all right.
On this weekday afternoon, there were families visiting.
The community is really pulling together and people are really coming out because they're looking for something fun and a little taste of normal again.
Back at Farmer John's, Bertau says despite the drought, the quality and price of the pumpkins will be the same. They range from $2 to $30, depending on the size.
The goal would be just to have people come here and enjoy it, and as much as we do.
Let's end the show with some dating advice. If you want to land a second date, you better take a second and brush up on your manners. A new OnePoll survey of 2,000 Americans says 3 out of 5 people would end a date or break up with someone if their partner had bad eating habits. 42% said they'd end a date if their partner chewed with their mouth open, and half would bolt if someone dropped food on the floor and ate it. Generation Z was the most likely to be tolerant of bad table habits, and millennials were the most outspoken on food offenses, saying they'd ask others to stop. I think eating food off the floor would be a deal breaker for me too, and I'm Gen X. All right. Well, thanks so much for wrapping up your weekend with us. We'll see you next week for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night. Stay safe out there.